Seminole War happened in the United States and the state of Florida. On my left talks about the Puel Battle. It started on January 15th, 1838. During the Second Seminole War, the Seminoles met and defeated the U.S. troops forces in the first battle of the Lochahatchee River. Trying to end the war, General Thomas Jessup brought several columns of troops to South Florida, including Riverbend. And on my right talks about Jessup's battle of January 24, 1838. On January 24, 1838, Major General Thomas S. Jessup commanded 1,500 men, the largest army of the Second Seminole War, marched to the headwaters of the Lochahatchee River, where he defeated approximately 300 red and black Indians. Keep going. All right. Outnumbered nearly 7-1, the Seminoles retreated to a water stronghold on the opposite side of the river. They crossed the east side of the river and waited for the troops to follow. Major Williams Landerhill and his Tennessee Volunteers held a position on the west side of the river, putting them direct line of weathering muskets fire that stopped their advance. The United States again expanded its power throughout the 1840s and 1890s. One of the ways it did this was the Indian Plain Wars. In the Indian Plain Wars, the United States gained a lot of land throughout the west of the continent, of the North American continent, which further increased the expansion of the United States.
In 1848, gold was discovered in California. It was the largest discovery to date, like this date. It helped with the economic and commercial expansion of the U.S. in the late 19th century, early 19th century. About 80,000 prospectors hoping to reach gold came out here to California. They traveled from the east to the west, hoping for gold. And that's how the U.S. first started to expand.
Areas of expansion. There were three main areas of U.S. expansion in the period after 1840. One was the south to southwest, the west to Pacific, and the north to northwest. Now, to acquire a majority of the territory in the west, there was this thing called the Mexican-American War. Well, that lasted from 1846 to 1848, and it all started when President Polk was all gung-ho for manifest destiny and decided to go all up close to the Rio Grande River. So what happened? Mexicans fought them. They were mad. They attacked them, killed about 11 army people in the U.S. Mexicans. So, this lasted for 2 years, 1846 to 1848. They were fighting in a war over territory battles because the Americans wanted the territory in the west that belonged to Mexico. Mexico wasn't having it, so they put up a little bit of a fight, but they lost severely when Americans just won, because that's what Americans do. And then this was settled by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which Peter will tell you about later. But moral of the story, the Mexicans lost. The United States acquired a lot of territory and only had a few consequences, such as paying a couple $1 million for land. No biggie. They didn't even lose that many people and not even that many casualties. So it was all worth it because they got a lot of land, something million. Cheers.
Alright, Treaty of Guadalupe was signed. This treaty signified the Americans' victory in the war efforts. Within this treaty, the United States had gained over 1 million square miles from Mexico, effectively cutting Mexico as a whole in half. What's now known as modern-day California, New Mexico, Nevada, and Arizona is what was gained from Mexico. But all this land gained was not due without any consequences. It says over 11,000 Americans had died from disease in the war efforts. 50,000 Mexicans had died in total in the war. Not only that, America paid over $15 million to Mexico to gain this land.
Manifest destiny is the belief that it is humans' God-given right to expand in the world, and the Americans wanted to expand from the east side, which they already had, to the west side, controlling most of the American, whatever. And pretty much it was the belief that they would expand all the way, conquering or taking all the territory that they had, even if they had to push all the Indians out, kill, and that's how a lot of problems started with like the Trail of Tears and other Indian places where a lot of the Indians got killed brutally and murdered.
The rest of Manifest Destiny is that the phrase was coined in the 1800s, but the term really had been around for a lot longer in time. Most people had already done it, and that's how a lot of moving went, and a lot of territory was gained pretty much, such as the annexation of Texas and other places that they got, like California and
Oh, the West Coast.
all the West Coast
All
of
of the
New
West
Mexico. And that's Manifest Destiny in a 10-second thing.